What is good, guys? This is Charles from Team COG coming at you guys here with another post-commentary duel video featuring my man Eric here on the left playing Traptrix and your boy here playing Infernobles. I guess you guys can never guess who the Infernoble player is in this match, but anyway, this is coming from our locals. I ended up taking this list to locals and doing pretty fair with it. Actually doing pretty insane with it. I took a lot of theory from I took a lot of theory from Triff. Triff's list when he ended up topping a YCS Indy with Manadium. I took a lot of inspiration from that, and this is sinless. That means we have no sins. We are forgiven of our sins, and we are pure of heart. We are martyrless, I guess is a good way to put it. But so this list is definitely taking a different approach to it. Again, before we even get further into the video, I don't think the sinless spoil engine is like a sinful spoil engine. Excuse me, is that bad? I don't think it's bad for the deck. I think it does good things for the deck. I think it's okay. But we're going to see Inperm drop down here, hitting that Traptrix monster, which I cannot think of the name of. I'm not too fluent in all the Traptrix. So I know like Sarah, Rafflesia, and I think that's about... I know this one, the one that we Inpermed her Trap Hole and stuff like that. I know this one here was supposed to grab back the treacherous Trap Hole from the graveyard. But since it did activate, he's going to trigger Sarah to be able to set a card, so he's going to set the Floodgate Trap Hole. But anyway, yeah, so like this list is just literally like, kind of like a hard ghost, like a ghost second. Like if we win the die roll, like we naturally are like in a 9 out of 10 spot to win the duel anyway. So like that's the theory behind the list. So we're playing like blowout cards and stuff like that. Inperm's like the only hand trap we're playing. And also just take note, like my deck building and stuff, which I'll show a profile here soon, is built solely on trauma deck building, where like my card, when I draw for turn, I'm always going to draw like the hand trap I could have used the turn before, or the one hand trap I see isn't good enough to like stop a turn. But we're going to see a special on a red layer. We're going to activate the museum, and I need to go to my locals, man, and like really like we had like a huge Magic Friday Night Magic tournament going on that night too, so we got put to like a new location. But I really need to go into the locals and really like sit down and try and find like the perfect spot without any glare. And I don't know, maybe you guys in the comment section who are better in videography than I am can like help me figure out how in the heck I can beat this glare problem, because it seems like no matter where I sit, I sit down, I do the glare test, and all of a sudden like there's no glare, but as soon as the camera comes on, bam. Like not even that, we use the camera to see if there's a glare, and as soon as I hit the record button, the glare comes on. But we're gonna see him use this trap hole card, which targets and destroys the special summon creature. So I asked, I was like clarifying it targets correct, and he's like, yep, it targets, and I was like, okay, good. So I have Forbidden Droplets in hand. And so he's going to go the trap hole target. I'm going to send, and I make a misplay here, but thank goodness, like I catch it in time. I wasn't supposed to send Almus from my hand. I was supposed to send Oliver from my hand, and we catch it here shortly. But we end up going Forbidden Droplets, sending the red layer, and Almus, and right there you can see, like I kind of noticed, I'm like, oh shoot, there's, you're not supposed to be here. So since the card's still resolving, I just take back and throw in the Oliver and stuff like that, because I didn't want me to send Almus. Sometimes, YuGiOh players, that's one of the bad things. We have these ticks and like nicks and ticks where we like hand shuffle and stuff like that. So there's the prime example. But anyway, we send droplets targeting the Sarah and the Rafflesia. Not even targeting, just negating the Rafflesia and the Sarah. I normal summon Connector. Connector's effect is going to activate, allow me to summon the Dolphin from the deck. He doesn't have a hand, but right now like it doesn't matter. Like I'm just getting full Isolde access here. But we're going to go out to Dolphin. I upgraded my Dolphin recently, but he's going to end up using that Floodgate. So that's the only thing I have to worry about. So he uses the Floodgate, and since we hard open the field spell is actually going to allow us to like play. The field spell is phenomenal. Like the field spell is crazy. We're going to use Oliver's effect, target the Connector, then use the field spell to bring up Oliver, go into Isolde. And then Isolde's going to allow me to add, which it doesn't really matter what I add. I add the red layer here. I'm playing 2 red layer in my list. I actually would like to... my theory in my like deck building is entirely different than everyone else's out there, but like I would like to have like 3 different names of like warrior extenders. So like I'd like to play red layer, flint lady, and like another warrior extender that's not. So like if I open any of those 3 in conjunction, they are instantly Isolde free without committing my normal summon. But we're going to see Isolde pay 4, sending 4 to summon Ogier to summon, or to dump, excuse me, Frazzled here to dump Turpin. Banish 2 to add the Phoenix Blade to equip the Ogier to special summon out the Turpin. Overlay for Dempsey. Dempsey is going to allow me to add Renaud. And we have like the full combo line here. So, which is really nice. Like this is you get to see Dempsey. I still play Arthur. I think that, like I said, I'm still an Arthur fan. I think there's going to be a lot of hills I'm going to die on for this deck, and playing Arthur is going to be one of them. Truly, Arthur is like one of my favorite cards to be able to make in this deck. It feels truly like an Infernoble or a Noble Knight deck when you play Arthur, and Arthur doesn't do anything, like doesn't cause any issues. It's not a bad card by any means. It and Dempsey does the same thing, but Dempsey just can't do what Arthur does, which is really interesting. But we're going to banish 2 or we're gonna, excuse me, we're going to banish 2 Phoenix Blade, DDR, go into the Angelica. Angelica's gonna grab the second field spell. We're gonna banish 2 again, Isolde and Renaud to add back the Phoenix Blade. Phoenix Blade target Angelica, Angelica's effect to send Gearfried. Then we're just going to tag into Roland, her husband. We're gonna activate the second field spell, Noble Arms. And right now we're just trying to get damage on board. That's all that we're trying to do. And Rattan really helps with that. Rattan in some aspects, like Little Knight is an insane card, by all means. So like Rattan sometimes like allows us to do like some very like weakly the same thing that Little Knight allows us to do, but he's a bigger body. And then like we can just link off the Rattan later on in the combo. So we're gonna go ahead and equip Roland to Charles. Charles will destroy the Rafflesia. And then we're gonna go ahead and link off into, oh, no, never mind. I'm going to equip the Almas. There we go. Equip the Almas to go ahead and link off into the Emperor. Chainlink 1, Emperor, Chainlink 2, Almas. Almas, grab back Gearfried. And then we're going to go ahead and banish, I believe. No, we're going to activate Joyous. Use Joyous to go ahead and add back some recovery. We're going to add back Oliver to hand because we haven't used Oliver's effect yet. So we're going to go ahead and banish summon Gearfried. Again, I apologize for the glare, guys. I don't know. Like I sat there, I do the glare test. And it just seems like, I do believe like something I need to look into is like getting a different like tripod because like this one here gets bumped, it seems like, because like when I started this video, it was perfectly even, or when I started Knight, but we're gonna go ahead and link Rattan and stuff into Little Knight to banish. I didn't need to do that, which is interesting. Like I did not need to make the Little Knight right there. I could have just literally gone battle phase. I'm very confused on. Oh, never mind. Okay, so I remember now. I attempted to go battle phase with the red layer earlier on, so like that's what happens. But we end up wrapping up here. It's just too much. Like, yeah, like he's on a 1 card. Like he's gonna be able to break like Charles, Gearfried, and Little Knight. Like that's insane. But yeah, that's what happened. I tried to push just to get rid of the Sarah super early to force that back row that I did not know, and that's what it was. It was that's what forced that trap hole that ends up targeting, destroying. But we move on into game 2 here. He's gonna normal summon Pudica, I think that's which one it is. But the one that grabs the field spell. I believe that's the one. So he's going to make Sarah, set 1, activate Holotea, special summon out Holotea will trigger the Sarah. Sarah will summon back this one. This one will get to reset the trap hole. That's the, oh goodness, I can't remember the name of it, but it's the one that, it's the one he had in game 1 that lets you target and then destroy a special summon monster. And then he's going to summon out Marmello. Marmello, mandatory effect, will attempt to destroy one of my spell and traps I don't have. And I believe Marmello's on normal summon. When it's normal summon, lets you out a trap. But he's going to go and overlay here for this trap. Like, I never ever see this trap trick, but it lets you like search any trap trick monster, I believe, or any trap trick card. And it is like a quick effect D Crow. It snatches something from the graveyard when a card or effect is activated, I believe, and it lets you attach it to it as material, which is insane. So he adds this guy. She's the one that protects the back row, but she's just, you know, just special summon, make Rafflesia. And kind of looking at his hand, I see he has Nib, which isn't a problem. Like, Nib isn't really a problem with this deck, believe it or not. I do make a misplay here, I believe. And this is the misplay that I make. You guys will see it. It's a misplay that I kind of like. Sarah's just such a scary card, but I'm going to go ahead and activate Lightning Storm, calling spell and traps. And I'd like, you know, so like, yep, so but I was like, if he has nothing in response, I chain droplets so I can send the Almas and the Lightning Storm. And I decided to negate Sarah and Rafflesia, and I should have gone for the other trap trick monster here. She would have been the better call, and it would have like made the outcome of the game be like entirely different. I mean, it wouldn't make the outcome of the game be entirely, excuse me. It wouldn't have made the outcome be different. It would make the outcome reach sooner. But we're going to go and activate Rhoda. He has Ash. We're going to go and use Durandal. You know what's kind of crazy that I've like in my testing I've been learning is like this deck literally beats like 2+ hand traps constantly, but it's always Ash that like literally is the one hand trap sometimes that in our hands are weak that literally do us in. But anyway, we go Durandal to grab the Ogier Jumper Gearfried. That trap trick monster is going to attach the Gearfried, so that's where I mess up. I shouldn't have used the droplets on Sarah and Rafflesia. I should use it on Rafflesia, and the other trap tricks left Sarah alone. That's what I should have done. Because like that would have been the perfect thing. Because then right here, as you guys could see, he had Nib in his hand, and I had like the anti-Nib line. Which again, like I said, there's a lot of hills I'm going to die on for Nobles, and that's going to be the fact that I think that the deck naturally beats Nib. That's why you want to play more copies of Ogier than just one. I don't believe one is correct. The deck naturally, like, you know what I'm saying. That'll be in for like the deck profile and stuff like that to go into like in depth and everything for that. But anyway, Angelica's going to grab us the museum here. Museum and stuff is going to we're going to banish Phoenix Blade to grab, or banish 2 for Phoenix Blade. Phoenix Blade triggered Angelica. Angelica to send the Turpin. Angelica will flee the scene to go ahead and summon out her husband Roland. And then we activate Noble Armor's Museum. We're all taking a trip. Grabbing Joyous. And so I grabbed Joyous for this reason, is so that I know I'm going to be able to, I don't know he has a nib. Honestly, he could have nibbed me at any moment, and if he would have nibbed me sooner, he would have probably been in like a way better position. But since he didn't nib me sooner, it like put me in like this really like good, it put me in a very solid position. So I'm going to equip Almus, attempt to use the Charles to blow up that the Traptrix to get my gear free back. So then I can link into Charles. Charles will attempt to equip the Charles in the graveyard, and then Almus will attempt to add back the gear freed. Which again, like, so he decides to nib here. Now, now looking back, so the chain resolves. I get a token. I attempt to link off here, which I catch myself. I remember I'm warrior locked. I attempt to link off into Link Spider. There's no reason for me to link off in Link Spider, but since, well, I'm still in a very commanding position. He has no cards. I have Gear Freed, and as you guys know, if you guys are Infernoble like veterans, if you control Gear Freed in a pretty much in a simplified game state, you're pretty set. But we're gonna banish one, summon Gear Freed. I believe we can use, yeah. So we go fire off Roland to equip to give it 500 more attack. Right now, Gear Freed's at 4,000, so we attack over for 1,000. Technically, I should have, if I want, yeah, so I could have banished 2 to get the fear. I don't know why I didn't to use the Divine Sword sooner. But we're going to go ahead and use the Joyous we had in our hand to add back Ogier for follow-up. In phase, Angelica returns. And something that's interesting here is that we can technically, like, the first thing monster he uses, we can negate with Gear... Not the first thing, but we can negate with Gear Freed, sending Roland, and then we can trigger Angelica during our turn by using the Roland to target it. So that the Angelica can dump something like Malgus to the Magius or Malgus to the graveyard to allow you to like shuffle 3 and get another draw, which puts me on like a way better crackback. But he's going to no more summon the Pudica, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Currently I don't have my laptop and everything is not with me right now, so like I'm not able to like get all their names in front of me. So I believe that's Pudica. Might be pronouncing it wrong, but I think that's it. But that's the one that's like on summon lets you banish, but he makes Sarah again. And I know he Traptrix the Trap Hole, I think, Traptrix, Politeia or something like that, that's what she's fired off, allows you to summon one from the graveyard. It's I guess it's, like, now that I look back at it, like, I see a lot of the reason, like, behind it, because I thought, like, during my end phase, he was, like, looking at the Politeia, like, trying to fire it off. So he's going to summon out this, attempt to use its effect to banish. I believe I respond with Gear Freed. Yeah, he's going to go for Gear Freed, which is, Gear Freed has to respond. We're going to go ahead and negate and destroy. Since it did... Ooh, well, I don't know if Gear Freed negates activations off the top of my head. If that's the case, I don't think he would have got the Sarah effect here. But it doesn't matter. He summons Marmello. But there's not really anything he can really do, to be honest with you, because this Nib token is going to go in pretty hard. The following turn, I have Ogier for Crackback. So he attempts to... I don't know if there's like... I know there's like a Link 2 Traptrix monster he could have gone into, but I don't know if it would have done anything. To be honest with you, I'm not entirely sure. But he uses the Marmello to pop my field spell, which allows him to trigger the Sarah again, because Sarah is an insane Link 1 to go ahead and set. So he's looking at Holotea, but he has no cards in hand, which means he can't activate the Holotea right away. Which kind of puts him on just a bad scenario, especially with like... And Traptrix monsters are so small too. It's just not like... It's just like a bad scenario. So he sets a Trap Hole. Trap Holotea, excuse me. That card's insane. That card's like a Shade Brigandine, which I've been talking a lot in my like streams and my most recent videos on like how I really like the Phantom Knight Shade Brigandine. Thank goodness my man Ferg comes by and he catches that. He's like, hey man, your camera was bumped. And I was like, oh great. So he fixes it for me. But we're going to go ahead and use Roland target Angelica effect to send. 2 banish to run high, but I'm going to shuffle back 3 to get an extra draw. And he concedes here. The draw would have been too good. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to comment, like, and subscribe. This is Charles with Team COG, signing out.